Hello, everybody. Welcome back to NLC Division 2. We're going to be going into our fourth match of the evening. Lucent up against London United, both teams chasing their first win. Jamada, what are we expecting from these two coming into this game?
Honestly, from London United, I'm still not too sure. I feel like in both their games, they were, especially the unique game, they were kind of manhandled in both. Still waiting to see whether or not we can get a little more of a showing from them. Lucent, uh, I don't know. I felt like coming uh into this split, we would maybe get to see a little bit more from them, but still have to take into consideration their run of schedule hasn't actually been particularly easy, right? Unique, one of our new favorites to the league, and of course, natives, spring split champions, unchanged in the roster, of course. So, still need a little bit more time from both these teams. I think definitely a very crucial time for these two teams to meet, both being 0-2. A win here could really start to sort of maybe boost some confidence and allow these teams to maybe express themselves a little bit more than what their previous matchups have allowed them to do.
I mean, the loser here is going to be the only team walking away from this first week, the Super Week, without a win in hand because we just saw Guap picking up their first win of the season as well. So it's going to be it's a massive game. It's hugely important for the motivation and for the players, especially. The teams obviously want to get the win, but players individually, if you come out 0-3, then there's going to start being some questions and some worries you've got to imagine. But Lucent are going to be on the blue side for this one. London United on the red. That's going to be Talia removed first off.
Yeah, and I want to see a draft which is super duper easy to execute for Lucent. I feel like we've seen some very out there and complicated picks in both their drafts, realistically, but particularly day one. Day two was a little bit closer to what we were starting to expect from this mail. Allow yourselves to have champions that kind of pilot the game for you, so you don't have to do as much work. As for London United, I think just need to again see them against a not expected top two team. Coming into such a big patch and such a sweeping change to how the game is played on 12-10. And again, there's going to be a lot of that for some of these teams that maybe are slower to adapt to 12-10 or the post 12-10 version of League of Legends. So hoping today that we can see a different side of London United today.
We might manage to get that because, like, as you said, with these two teams, there might be a little bit more room for expression in this game because there's been some tough ones on the road already. Camille, Wukong, Talia, Gwen, and Senna are our bans so far. One more in the offing, but a couple of the most powerful picks have already been removed. And with the Lulu going the same way, is there anything that leaps out of his first pick?
Lucian still there if it wants to be picked up. Curiously, we haven't really seen too much Renata today. It feels like teams have kind of forgotten about that one. We'll see what Lucent decide to do, as it's just going to be a B1 Olaf. Okay, a lot of priority on that champion, which, we've seen definitely have its very successful games so far in the NLC, both Division 1 and Division 2, but we've also seen it have its kind of fall over games as well. I'm expecting that with the Lulu band away and also the Karma picked up, that Renata should come in this B2 and B3. You want some kind of buff up to your Olaf normally. Yes, very powerful on this patch, by himself, sure, but always wants to be buffed up by an enchanter. Smart takeaway by London United with the Karma, which they could honestly lane into the top side of the map if the Olaf lands there. And Viego will also be taken up in this rotation, which, throughout Spring Split was also, you have to remember, when we had that Zinzao Viego mail, was kind of the pairing, right? You would either have Zinzao Lulu or you would have Viego Karma, all kind of interchangeable between the two, to be honest with you. But for now, Lucent just say, all right, to hell with it, we're just going to go for our full top side. So Lee Sin LeBlanc, very high executions floor. I did ask from Lucent, give us something that is low floor execution and allow the draft to play itself. They've gone for the direct opposite of that, so we'll see how things pan out for them. But London United, yeah, just get the free response. The Lissandra still had that up and available on R3. We've seen this rise to priority, of course, during MSI as an answer to Ari has always historically been that answer to the LeBlanc. Typically, you do want to try and see the LeBlanc, the Lee Sin on the Lissandra side as well to help lock down the LeBlanc to ensure that she absolutely cannot go anywhere. But Viego just as powerful in that regards as we move into the second ban phase, opening our Seraphine.
we could see this being just the top to bot with Karma in the top side if we want to see super big fun. On that one, we just saw, of course, MBZ playing it in the top side, but could well be support. And it's going to be the Seraphine first banned away. As mentioned, the Gnar now removed suggests that Lucent will expect Buzzy to be on the Karma. And the Renata Glass days to go. She hasn't been forgotten about. She's just been banned.
Just been banned, and I mean, that's the thing. A lot of these enchanters are kind of gone. Where do you default to if you're looking for that kind of style of play? I like the Ezreal ban because right now you don't really have a lot of lockdown. So Rusty Sniper could have very easily relied on a pick like that happily. But there goes the Aatrox. So it will be Karma on the bottom side. Correct call out. The Nod ban kind of goes to waste in that regard. But oh, are we just going to get Zeri Yumi actually instead? I think that would make the most sense, right? Zeri pretty strong on this patch, has kind of been underutilized, it feels like, for the most part. And of course, I mean, one of its most common pairings when it came into the meta was Yumi, expecting that we'd still want to see an enchanter from Lucent. Would have been the case if they didn't swap over to Kalista last second. So now an entirely different tune here. Lucent going for what is looking like effectively a top to bottom full aggression team comp. It's definitely ballsy when you consider how 12-10 has looked. Feels 12-9, I'd say, all right, hell, go for it. But 12-10 is an entirely different ballpark. And what will we get to see Little Pants on? Will it be his ever so coveted Alistar as a last swap over, or is it actually going to be Silas? As it does get locked in. So Silas support into the Karma. Of course, Silas with the chains, a lot of lockdown, right? So a lot of potential CC that can come through. As it's a very, very interesting jar from Lucent. We'll break that down as we get into the game. London United looking a little closer to standard. Something like the Karma would, the Zaya of it would make a fair amount of sense. A lot of champions trying to dive into you, having that ultimate and all of the feathers on the floor to burst down some of these people moving forward, having a little more zone control on the floor via the feathers. It's definitely a very strong tool, and it's what will be in the hands of Rusty Sniper.
I mean, I am just very excited to see this bot lane coming through from Lucent. The Kalista Silas. Hurling a Silas into the enemy team is going to be an absolutely terrifying one. But it looks like to me, Lucent, they've looked at the clock and be like, we're running, a little bit late today. We're just going to have to make sure that this one's going to be a 20-minute game because, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Jamada. And I know this is a slightly simplistic way of looking at League of Legends, and we don't really do that here. Sometimes, well, we do sometimes, but there's a lot of you criminal. You cannot, of all the people. Okay, we'll just have a fight for a second. Of all the casters I work with, you are the second least able to go on anything.
Who's the most?
Doctor is worse than you, but are you done?
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm not. So, are they just going to have to play this game out super quickly because they don't really scale necessarily as well as their opposition in any role?
Yeah, this is you know how back in the day, I can't remember who coined the phrase. I believe it was Crepo back in the day, coined the phrase shotgun compositions. Or like shotgun like team fighting, right? Where you kind of, imagine you have a double barrel shotgun, you kind of just kind of get to shoot it once, or well, effectively twice. It's got two, but you get the idea. This feels like that, but for a composition. Lucent have, maybe if they mess up, then they maybe have two, and just doesn't really fare well from behind. And we will probably start to see London United take over just by design.
Just by the case of they're not able to stand liter to liter with their opposition unless they get really far ahead in the early game. As you mentioned, they need to take their shot or their two shots that they get in these early stages, which is what we saw a little bit earlier as well.
Yeah, this is I don't know if you know him. He's a famous author, Mikhail Gulborg.
Oh yeah, I've heard.
Yeah, he wrote a particularly powerful novel about League of Legends philosophy. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it. It's called Win Lane Win Game.
I have heard of it. I don't particularly subscribe to it, but I have.
This is a case study from
okay.
that novel. Yeah, I expect that Lucent will indeed, hopefully for themselves, win lane and then win game. Because if they don't win lane, they will probably not win the game.
And I mean, we haven't seen Gorbo for a couple of weeks. Is he just drafting for Lucent?
I
He's
I
spent
mean,
a couple of weeks
it
off. I don't know if that's
barely
what he's
have to,
doing in his
yeah, you
own.
know,
Yeah.
I've barely heard from him myself. You know, Gorborg, if you end up seeing this, hope you're okay, buddy. I know he was streaming earlier, at the very
Yeah, no,
least.
he's absolutely fine.
He's alive. He's totally fine. He is very much alive. Don't worry. But yeah, I feel like Lucent have kind of just decided to throw the gauntlet down for no particular reason other than yeah.
Maybe. As you can see, we've got Champs Central Box here. Don't worry, we are getting the same drafts. We're just having to do a remake, so we thought we'd just run you through the draft again, just to remind you what's been picked up and everything like that. But it's just going to be picked in roll order, so this is not exactly how it went down, but it does just give you a quick reminder of what's on the list. Because I feel like we've mentioned the Lucent composition quite a lot, just because they're the ones who are the protagonists of this game in terms of they're the ones who have to be doing the stuff
You know
in
what?
the early stages.
Spiritually, I'm rooting for Lucent this game.
Right.
I
Just
know
because you
as
want
a
to see
caster
them
I'm
win
supposed
because
to
they've
remain I
drafted.
know as a caster I am supposed to remain entirely impartial, which I on broadcast I feel like for the most part I do a pretty good job at that. Lucent really haven't helped themselves out in this draft. I'm just gonna flatly say it. This is a really hard to execute draft. They actually all picked for themselves, which I just realized, and not in this. Like obviously this is the remake draft, so we're just seeing this be remade in front of us. But actually in the real draft, they quite literally went Olaf, Lee Sin, LeBlanc,
Mm.
Kalista, Silas. It's a tough one. I think that London have really strong answers pretty much across the board. I think their only real avenue again is just Snowball Lucent. I think the only place where realistically they like really do like hard win is maybe the top side of the map, pre-6. Not entirely sure how Aatrox Olaf goes. I haven't particularly seen the matchup enough times to give you a true educated answer on that one. So maybe Super Big Fun knows how to pilot this matchup really well. He did pick it into the Olaf, so the expectation is just that. It can skirmish very well. Uh, we'll see. Olaf gets really low. Usually Aatrox, you know, until maybe level 6, 7, can't really close to 100 to 0. Many people with his sweet spot, Darkin Blades and auto attacks and such. So I think, you know, pre-6, the lane is probably going to be a little bit difficult. If he tries to trade, then DBL is just going to have, you know, not a lot of health, but then get all of the extra stats from being Olaf, and that could turn into a bit of a rundown situation. But on the bottom side, I feel like Zaya and Karma should be able to play, you know, at range, at distance, fine. And I'm looking towards Hankat to try and, you know, bail that lane out as frequently as possible. As long as Johnny isn't there to make it a 3v3, I think London can just cruise this one out. Again, I'm rooting for Lucent here. This is such a hard draft to make work, especially in 12-10 where, you know, tower diving significantly harder, making gank stick significantly harder. They have the setup in the lanes. They have double chains between Silas and LeBlanc. It's about making them stick, and it's about making sure that they can consistently get something from any play they make on a map.
And they're going to have to do so frequently and quickly, I think is the phrase. Because we saw, I believe it was Monster Rugby up against Domino, but I might be wrong on that, where Domino drafted a lot of agency, but then didn't have any agency, really. And that was a massive problem for them because they were just completely unable to play the game further forward because the other team composition managed to scale very, very quickly. And when you've got Vayne, when you've got Carthus, it's very difficult to then play out from even an even keel, but they just weren't at that either. As we do find ourselves onto the rift for our 4th game of the day. Remember, everybody, this isn't the last game you've got. We've got unique Rising Dawn Esports coming for you after this one, so make sure to stick around after this game is concluded. But Lucent, they're going to start quickly. They're moving into the bottom for a little bit of an invade.
Yeah, they have to make something work somewhere, and this is what they are looking to do. Try and get a level 1 in. Olaf is with them, of course, one of the stronger level 1 champions. If Rusty Sniper steps just a little bit too far forward, gets clipped by an undertow, he will almost certainly have to lose his flash. Lucent, though, not able to find an angle. Rusty Sniper stepping a little bit too far back. And, well, I feel like we played a game like this whilst we was on cast. We had a draft very similar in stature to this long ago. And I think it's a bit cruel, but I feel like I said in the champion select, I think Lucent have like 2 big mistakes in this. And if they make those mistakes, then that's it. And when I say mistakes, what I mean is if they fall behind 2 times back to back, I think the game's probably over. Lucent though going for this late invade. We'll see how things go again. Ignore my nepotism. My nepotism? What's the word I'm looking for here? Negativity. What's the word? Negative, which ends in ism. Will help me.
Pessimism.
Yes, pessimism as a Rusty Sniper is just getting all in.
He gets first blooded.
All right, so Lucent on the board. First wave. Rusty Sniper doesn't respect it. Buzzy also gets chunked out. And we just have to see this on repeat. The map is also going to be split. And take a look at this. Honka, I don't even think is even remotely aware. He is full clearing his red side jungle. And when he makes it down to the bottom side, he is going to find no camps available to him. And what I would love Johnny to do is, yes, just interrupt the return to lane. He isn't going to quite make it in time, so won't get a full-blown interrupt on this occasion. Came very, very close to it. Now Honka is going to walk into his bottom side jungle and find absolutely nothing. Let's see how he responds. Lucent, great start. Perfect start. It's exactly what they needed, that first blood.
And now they're looking to pressure in. Buzzy's gone very low, below half health, wasn't able to recall there, and looks like Silas Little Pants is going to head on back to base. The Ignite was blown, should be worth noting. But it was traded for Rusty Sniper's flash, so definitely a worthwhile trade as Kurosh is looking to try and get some exchanges down into Lissandra. Wasn't able to find the chains though, so kill pressure does dissipate. As Honka looking towards this mid lane, but can't find Kurosh, who's already back under his tower.
And I think for now, Lucent can be happy with their 1 kill on the bottom side. If that chain connected, Sarge at the very least would have had to have flashed away. As Kurosh getting the upper end of the trades, brought the Ignite, and I mean, I think it just says all it has to. Realistically, DBL comes down into the river, ensures that Johnny will be picking up the Scuttle Crab, and Honka stuck to those 3 camps. Hasn't actually picked up anything else beyond that. Will likely move down towards that bottom side Scuttle, but again, Johnny already farmed 5 camps, 3 of which were Honka's, has a whole blue side quadrant to return to. Could even look towards the mid lane here, as a couple of pings were coming down. Will he look for it?
Looks like he is. Dives forward. Well, looks for it. Looks for the cannon minion more than anything. But Honka is now here, and Lucent do not have full health bar. Sarge doesn't take the claw forward. Decides against trying to follow up with a proper 2v2. And London United is about just tempering the speed of this game. They know that if things get out of control, it could get bad for them. Or if things just stay on parity or close to it, then they will have a much better chance in this matchup. 20 seconds on Dragon Infernal to start us up in this game. But we're doing 1,000 gold lead going over to the side of Lucent, who are pressuring for more in the bot side. Little Pants, very, very aggressive for you, stepping forward towards Buzzy, but Little Pants needs to be careful as the damage goes down to Rusty Sniper, though he's stacking, dead, as Fuyu picks up a second.
Fuyu picks up second, utilizing this Kalista lane well, and it's actually something we have seen over a couple of the ERLs once or twice, but also Little Pants.
I don't know if you wanted that, Little Pants.
Over in the LPL as well. Whilst we would expect on the edge. There's DBL.
Fighting a super big fan, back away, has the shield, but it will fall off, and I'll have to be a little careful.
Yeah, I was honestly expecting DBL to maybe try and send it, honestly. No threat of getting bursted down again. All of the spells on cooldown. W shield, healing. Decided against it though, didn't want to flip the game. Recognizes that on the bottom side of the map, his Kalista is winning out. And what I was alluding to is, whilst we, mostly saw the death of like most lane bullies, right? Nami Lucian is kind of one of the outliers. Kalista is also a champion which, on this patch, surprisingly, if piloted efficiently, is particularly powerful still in lane as we're seeing. But despite having all of this priority in the bottom side, despite having a lot of pressure in the mid lane, it's somehow London United that sneak away this dragon. Honestly, credit to Honka. Recognize that Lucent's bottom lane were on reset and just found a small window to sneak that one away. And now that is a pretty big hit, in my opinion, to Lucent in terms of the amount of pressure they could potentially put out in this game as things progress. So really good takeaway from Hancock. We'll see what else he can get done. Has been definitely struggling in the CS department, as of course we did start with that split map where they wasn't able to sniff it out in time to potentially save some extra CS. Lucent congregating around the mid lane, but Buzzy's also here in support. Hancock not too far away, but it seems like it will just dissipate all of this pressure.
Yeah, Kurosh is going to keep the priority up in the mid lane and now moving down potentially towards the bot side as Johnny goes for another invade onto the enemy blue buff. Just wants to secure himself that one on cooldown. Kurosh is there, so he might be able to pick up the blue buff himself.
Wow,
puts down 2 plates solo completely to himself. That's going to be massive for the Kalista. And as you mentioned, it's very smart from DBL because while Lucent have all their lanes could win, not all of their lanes need to win aggressively early in order for this game to get out of speed, because Super Big Fun could go even with this Olaf, but if the Kalista is going to take over the game entirely, then it's just on DBL to make sure that this Kalista is allowed to thrive.
Yeah, I mean, DBL's job up in this lane right now is A, not die, B, if he can, yes, put Super Big Fun in the dirt, but I mean, I think his mentality in this game is kind of spoken for all in.
Super Big Fun flashing forward gets the kill.
Super Big Fun picks up the solo kill. DBL, we're just talking about his role in this game and inside this lane. Just try not to lose. Try and keep Super Big Fun down. Super Big Fun picked up the Aatrox in the counter pick, and I was going to say, you can probably see into DBL's mentality a little bit.
4 plates at 8 minutes.
4 plates, 8 minutes. Not a good look for this bottom lane. Whilst yes, picking up this tower would be big, I would personally love to see Lucent rotate up towards this Herald, pick this one up, and try and get even more plates into Fuyu's back pocket. Resets already has the shield bow. So powerful at this moment in the game, and actually, Kurosh looking for mid lane maybe. Has to respect the ultimate and W. Had the ignite for potential all-in threat, but not going to quite find it. And on the reset of Super Big Fun, Johnny is going to just take this window to take down the Herald, so will find themselves that neutral objective, Lucent. But I mean, for London United, talking about them for a brief second, the game from their point of view right now, very hard place to be in. 20 CS down in the AD carry role, falling behind a little bit in the mid lane, but the top side of the map, your Aatrox is winning. I would love to see Hancock try and get up there, facilitate this lead to grow a little bit larger, because it seems like Lucent will just be full guns blazing towards the bottom lane.
They can break down this tower, potentially look to move the Kalista around the map. If they can grab this one in the next couple of minutes, is it a case of running Kalista up to like the mid lane or top lane just to keep taking plates?
Yes, I think so. It's why I actually wanted to see Fuyu and Little Pants rotate up towards the top side as Johnny was taking the Herald. Anyway, shove DBL down towards the bottom side, have him wave clear, get the entire tower off the top side, try and shut down Super Big Fun as well on that rotation. Didn't come out, but they still picked up the Herald, so yeah, they do pick up this tower, which I mean, seems more and more likely by the wave spawn, then yes, hopefully Johnny will be able to move in unison with Fuyu and Little Pants to try and get more plates in. Because right now, already being at shield bow before 10 minutes is absolutely huge for this Kalista. I mean, you know Kalista's fed when she skips her 2 boots purchase.
He's going to be able to just break down this first tower before the 10-minute mark. Secured by Lucent, and now you're going to have to keep your eyes on where they go next. Johnny's around the topside jungle, actually, or the bottom side jungle, or his opponent on the red side, and is going to be able to make something happen, but it looks like it's just going to be recalls across the borders. Keep your eyes on where Little Pants and Fuyu decide to go next.
Yeah, make sure for them as... Oh, underneath the tower, Sarge is in danger, he's dead.
Deep trouble, has the ultimate to bail him out, but gosh, should be able to secure the kill. Meanwhile, in the top lane, DBL goes down on the dive. That's Super Big Fun, helps Hancock pick up another.
Yeah, big blunder by Sarge there in the mid lane. I'm not sure what actually gave him tower aggro, but I think he just tried to auto on the way out with the E. But unfortunately, he gets chained, can't reactivate the claw, can't walk away from the lane safely. On the top side though, London United, they did make a play, dive DBL, they did take 2 additional plates on top of that. DBL is falling further and further behind on this Olaf, but look at the mid lane now. It's under siege by Fuyu and Little Pants. They already have taken down 1 plate. Johnny's here with the Herald in the back pocket, but London United, they're resetting, they're coming out of base, and they're looking to answer this push.
There is the Rift Herald Fuyu going to try and get some damage done onto these plates before the charge and the defenses come up. to be very careful about Rusty Sniper dragging in. Kurosh on the side just going to get some poke down, some gold funneled into multiple members of Lucent before the Herald is fell. They managed to get 4 plates on that one because it was fully healthy before Fuyu arrived. And oh, look at that gold difference in the bot lane.
Oh, 2,000 just between the AD carries. I mean, even between the supports. 1.3k. It's not often you see a gold lead that huge. Buzzy probably hasn't even been able to have the opportunity to farm his support item, assuming he's got Spell Thieves, and that's where the major lead is. The other lead, top side of the map. Significant lead for Super Big Fun. Over 1,000 gold. London United have to rely on their top laner for a bit, it feels. Some of their team fighting avenues to come online. Xayah, 2 items. Realistically, you want 3 before she is really good to go. Sarge, gonna need a while, having not been able to have been played around. Wasn't able to shut down Kurosh alongside Honka. No acceleration at all. Kind of just have to sit here and yield to the pressure of Lucent. And now I really look towards Lucent and say, all right, time is ticking. How fast can you execute on this game? You have a massive lead. We need to see these towers start to fall.
The mid lane tower is very, very close to going down. It looks like Fuyu has decided that it might be more potent to go up to the top side to grab a couple more plates because there are 5 still standing on that one. But this means that mid lane tower, once plates fall off especially, should be fairly easy to remove. Super Big Fun is trying to take down a tower for his team, but Fuyu has arrived, and the Idris needs to be a little bit careful. The silence is going to be thrown forward with Lissandra ultimate going to lock Super Big Fun in place. He's going to be able to throw down the World Ender, but will it be enough to keep him alive? Buzzy's there as well. It's a 2v2, as Fuyu actually goes very, very low. Needs to be careful, flashing it away, and it's Hungun and Rusty Sniper who are going to arrive in support. Lucent might have bitten off more than they can chew as they back away. Johnny in the wings. But Lucent, the push is going to be slow. The Super Big Fun gets away.
Yeah, Lucent didn't have the numbers there to the play first. They were trying to 2v1 Super Big Fun.
Buzzy! Needs to be careful. Johnny dives away. The chains landed this time around. As Sarge goes through, gets the nice ultimate down, and will be able to score the kill onto Lillipas. The tower falls as well as London United take a kill.
London United get a very cheeky kill. Sarge, I think the claw wasn't quite visible. It wasn't visible quick enough for a response to come down, but that play was 4 members committed to the top side. Actually, I think it was all 5 to the top side. London United, they will lose that mid lane tier 1. Yeah, bottom side tier 2 also chunked out on, and now Johnny will try and take a bite out of the jungle camps here in the top side as well. So yes, it's very nice.
Is in trouble. It's 2v2 now that Sarge arrives though. He's going to dive away with his ultimate and burns low with the ignite. Needs to be careful though. Johnny backs away, gets the kick, but is caught out. Buzzy's there now. 3v2, DVL 3v3 as he steps forward with the ghost, but Rusty Sniper's here, and the Olaf decides to move away.
Yeah, I mean, very fortunate in my eyes that more members from London United didn't fall there. Cart dodges away. Johnny kind of misses that Sonic Wave as well as Kurosh landed the chains. And if that Sonic Wave connected, Hankart would have been dead inside the jungle, and that snowball, the team fight, could have definitely come down from Lucent, but they are able to escape London United with their lives. They trade out more kills, but honestly, the gold lead hasn't really been expanding as heavily as you would maybe expect. 2,000 is definitely nothing to scoff at. But given how the state of the bottom lane was, in the opening 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, Lucent, the game has slowed down a little bit for them, but still, the map opening up bit by bit, have to continue to do that.
Sarge moved up into the top side just to clear out minions. Of course, plates are gone now, but Super Big Fun going to utilize the opportunity to try and get some damage down on this bot lane tower. Only 2,000 have been secured so far from Lucent with the amount of dominant pressing that they got. That might be a little bit worrisome for them, potentially, but they are still in the lead when it comes to gold. It has been reduced to about 2,000, though. London United, have they stalled effectively in the last few minutes? As the Kurosh is going to need to be a little bit careful diving over the wall. Super Big Funk's going to follow him through, but Kurosh will just be able to bot back under tower.
Yeah, bot back under tower, and Super Big Fun. Unfortunately, the mobility just a little bit too high on this LeBlanc to make a dive work. Definitely has the damage for it, but can't lock down Kurosh, and Kurosh will back away from this tower, so it could give Super Big Fun the window to, at the very least, chunk down the tower itself a little bit more. But I mean, have they done enough? It's a good question. I'm not too sure just yet. The items are starting to come across the board for London United. The Mythics, Control in the Divine Thunder is there for Hankart. Mythics in the solo lanes are available now. Strength for the champions definitely up a little bit. Then they can start to consider some kind of contest, but think if they can't lock down Fuyu, it's just going to be too dangerous to fight. If they can lock him down, the Kalista, then I think they have a pretty solid chance. But if they can't immediately take him out of the fight, then I think they'll just lose in the extended play.
30 seconds on this dragon. London United control the area. Third dragon. We always talk about the third dragon fights. Don't know if we're going to see one here or not, but both teams seem fully aware this is the place to be. DBL moving forward, might be looking to catch an undertow, but won't be able to find anyone as he's a little bit too slow. Sarge hanging around in the bush, just making sure that his team has a good route out as Kurosh puts down a little bit of damage. And the big man, meanwhile, on the other side, Fuyu needs to be very, very careful. Backs away, does manage to survive though, but there's so much damage coming out of this London United side right now. As Sarge moves forward, Little Pants thrown into the frame, but does need to be very, very careful. Will back out. Johnny comes through, looking for Rusty Slumber. Won't be able to find him with too much damage, but Kurosh secures the kill in the end. Buzzy gets chained and killed as Little Pants goes over the wall into the Dragon's Pit. Hanka gonna be the next one. Chase goes over the wall, but it's gonna be followed by Johnny, who held on to the Resonate, and now it's a double kill for the Lee Sin. Catches out Sarge, looks for another. The Chill Claw will see Lissandra away as Super Big Fun marches out as well. But it's kills, kills, kills for Lucent as they pick up free in Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, for Lucent, really big win. London United almost had Fuyu. Cleanse comes in clutch. And they do win out on the team fight. And now you have to feel London United losing out on the team fight. Kind of big. They fall further behind in gold. This was definitely a potential window for them to try and pick something up. DBL, I don't think he's going to be in too much danger, though. I feel like we'll be able to walk away. All right. So no kind of isolated death there. Second dragon picked up by Lucent, of course. And yeah, the fight just started to get a little bit too split up for London United. And that's the thing. The Lucent team fight, I mean, all of the champions, they kind of specialize at skirmishing, right? The team fighting prowess itself isn't particularly high. A lot of strong ultimates are available to London United. Things like the Heartbreaker for the resets. You know, even Aatrox's resets in their own right. But Frozen Tomb and the Featherstorm, those are the two ultimates you have to keep your eyes on in every single team fight. How those are used in response to whatever Lucent are doing. Because remember, Lucent, they are the team composition realistically who are the driving force, the ones with most of the agency. So look towards them to get things done. Lil Pants has to flash over the wall. Just gets a little bit too over eager. Does have the Lissandra ultimate now.
We just have that extra line of defense, but will be caught out by Lissandra. Ultimate is going to be going low, taken out. That's Fuyu down, and London United moving forward. Look towards Little Patch, should be able to secure that one as well. Sarge, one more tower shot would be enough, but Hanka takes the hit instead. As you can see on the top side, though, Rift Herald has been dropped. London United are pressuring forward towards this mid lane inner, but members are being recalled to defend. Teleport actually to come through now, as well as the Rift Herald charge does go down, but the tower is not felled. A Super Big Fun and Sarge turn up to protect it. Cross needs to be a little bit careful, but is very mobile, so should be able to bounce away.
And that's the exact kind of thing we had to see from London United. Immediate engage on top of Fuyu, no cleanse from that dragon fight. Tried to flash away from the ultimate, but did it too late. Still gets locked down after the flash, and the piling calms down. Lucent looking for Super Big Fun. That's a 250 shutdown. It will go over to Johnny. DBO even teleported to ensure that there was no true escape. Baron's up in 30 seconds now. Lucent, the game for them hasn't really been particularly clean, but if they can pick up this Baron, I feel like they will have another platform, another foothold to continue to hold on to most of the control in this game. London United have done a really good job to answer back out as best they can on multiple occasions. And all they really have to do, hold out another 10 minutes so they can keep their base intact for 10 minutes, not fall too far behind. I think they have a really, really solid shot at it. That's when the Blanc, Lee Sin, they start to turn into more pick champions. If they can scatter the fights and turn them into small 2v2s, 1v1's great, but all London United have to do is stick in a death ball, have Buzzy buff everybody up with those Mantra shields. And then Sarge just picks on whoever dives in a little bit too far forward of that Lissandra ultimate, and London have a very easy draft to run against what Lucent are playing right now.
United are going to be able to step forward towards this Baron area though. They've got it defended, at least the river entrance. They're going to need to try and control a little bit of vision. You can see that they've got some shallow vision into the river down on the bot side, but not really very much around this Baron except for one in the Baron pit itself, trying to get some control as members of Lucent are now here. For you clearing out the mid lane though, DBL down on the bot side, no teleport, it should be noted. So it'll be a long run for him, but London United seem to just want to back away and protect their structures more than the Baron.
Yeah, it's definitely an okay call. Like I said, as long as their base can stay up, that's the crucial thing. Lucent, I think, have to just try and get a Baron fight going very soon. All right, pings are coming down, so there you go. It's like they're listening to the casters. For you, get these Ren stacks going, and I'm pretty sure London United have an idea that this is going on. But Lucent, I don't think they actually ever want to take the Baron itself. They want to just try and bait the fight. But on the bottom side, DBL. Blast Cone out.
Chased down by Sarge, but as you said, Blast Cone away. And London United are moving back and forth across the rift, just trying to defend everything that they can and not get drawn into a fight that they might not be able to win. But of course, they've got some powerful tools themselves. So it's not necessarily a done deal if a 5v5 does kick off in earnest. However, Kurosh is up on the top side. No teleport on him, so the LeBlanc wouldn't be available. There would be a 5v4 advantage for London United if they manage to pull the trigger on something, but it looks like they're going to keep shoving into that mid lane.
Yeah, windows closed. Kurosh is on his way now, halfway down the river already. London United aren't even going to press into either side of the jungle. A little bit too worried about face checking, but they will go in now. Seems like Lucent in two halves right now. Kurosh and Fuyu on the top side. Lil Pants, Johnny, DBO on the other. I think this is a little bit too split. Yes, they want to have these small skirmishes, but you need Fuyu to be protected by somebody. If he's able to be jumped on by Sarge, doesn't quite have the flash yet, then it's a bit of an issue. They are starting to pincer. They're starting to close in. That's a kick.
That's the kick, that's the damage coming through, but it's onto DBL. Little Pants needs to be careful. Both Lissandras hold each other as they back away. Damage coming down pretty big onto Hunkup though, as members Rusty Sniper picks up a kill and is trying to get away from the damage, but it's in the back line. Johnny's doing so much work. DBL as well, just ripping them to shreds. London United trying to back away. Super Big Fun returns to the fight, but just finds corpses as the team is wiped off the map. It's an ace for one for Lucent, and now they can take Baron.
Oh, that fight could have gone either way, Will. I feel like if things go slightly more London favored, if Super Big Fun is able to pick up another kill at the end of that, he's maybe going to get the resets off Death Stance, and he could potentially look to try and clean up that fight. Or Rusty Sniper being able to potentially get over the wall with that flash, just wasn't able to do it. Lucent, it was very bold, chasing into a choke against the Lissandra, against the Viego reset, which could have almost come in as well. But they make it work, and now they'll pick up the Dragon on the bottom side, they'll pick up this Baron, and they should be able to start to suffocate London United in their base.
And that's what we're going to need to do. It's first... Okay, this is the interesting question, because this is first Baron. We always say, look, take everything outside the base, jobs are good. A, not that much outside the base for London United right now, and B, because of the nature of their composition, do we need to see Lucent do more?
I mean, kind of, yes. I would honestly like to see them grab an inhib at the bare minimum, like kind of the first push. The issue is, diving a lot of these champions, kind of problematic. Kurosh, if he can find a pick onto Sarge, would have been great to try and break up the tempo, but diving into the London United team composition, absolute nightmare underneath these inhibitor towers. They are super far ahead though, and that's the crucial thing. If they can burst somebody down, great, but that's the key criteria that they have to meet. They have to try and burst somebody out as they do it. Sieging isn't particularly going to be easy. The wave clear isn't the best from London United, admittedly, but it is present between things like Xayah, between Karma, Lissandra to a degree. It's a bit medium ranged. It's something to work with at the very least. But Lucent have to try and punish those small windows. London United actually trying to potentially punish this wave shove up here. But Sarge is on a ward.
His ultimate will be forfeit for that ward as Little Pants able to grab that one up. Glacial Prism just going to keep people at bay. Of course, dancing around up towards this bot side, playing with Super Big Fun a little bit. Sarge is now there to try and defend, make it a 2v1, but Lucent just pushing London United across their base mouth. As minions crash in, Fu going to get some free time. DBL manages to get some free time on this top lane inhibitor tower, take the entire thing out. I can look to try and keep pressure on the inhibitor. Now you can see in the middle lane, Fu managed to take the inner and now moves towards the inhibitor tower himself with the spawn of Little Pants and Johnny. London United need to choose where to strike.
Yeah, London United, they really do. I mean, I think they can realistically bleed this here, but it's just going to be so difficult to deal with. The next dragon will be Hextech Soul. I know it says mountain in the top left. Excuse the client being a little bit buggy. But Hextech Soul is so impressive to deal with. They're trying to chase down Kurosh on the bottom side. Lucent, however, see this going on and they're just pushing the mid lane. They're looking at their second inhibitor.
Stepping forward, gets the second inhibitor tower at the very least. Now the inhibitor's going to start taking some damage from the minions as members like Fuyu trying to prioritize it over the enemy champions. Should be able to secure it. That's the inhibitor down. Hardcut maybe looking towards a flank, but couldn't find one as Lil Pants goes forward, gets the ultimate down onto him, keeps him locked in place, but there's just no follow-up as this tower is still standing, but it does give enough time for someone like Kurosh to come in, get some damage onto it. The tower is forward, but the fight will kick off in earnest. Johnny dives on through, looking to get to Sarge, will be able to do so, but doesn't manage to get the last kick, will be able to do so just at the end there, as Lil Pants now diving forward. Kurosh is there, Fuyu on the side, looking towards the inhibitor potentially, but needs to turn to save his team. DBL goes into Ragnarok, but falls just after, as Fuyu now needs to jump away from the Aatrox. He gets some support from Lil Pants, who's trying to dive in to save him, but I think Kalista will also die. So much damage from him though, as Lil Pants gets away onto the Gromp. Kurosh is with the wind. Can Lil Pants escape? Uses the World Ender for the speed, looking for the blast cone. Will be able to take it on the second time of asking as he gets away. London United, they look to low, but they protect their base.
This is exactly what London United needed. They needed a team fight where Lucent just overstepped once. It's the team fighting prowess of this composition. The resets amongst the top side of the map are absolutely insane. And as soon as Johnny dived in, tried to commit onto Sergeant, couldn't find him, goes down, gives the first reset over. The Thrall start to slow members of Lucent down, and the retreat is, I mean, not even particularly great. They still lose 2 on the way out. London United with a great chase down. I mean, hell, even Lil Pants could have gone down. I think it was a very funny vision thing there where Super Big Fun just expected Lil Pants to have gone over the wall, decided to back away, didn't realize his gold was still sitting on the opposite side of that wall. But now, 50 seconds until the Dragon, things to track. Many flashes just blown, but crucially, Fuyu doesn't have Cleanse or Flash, and he doesn't have a QSS in his inventory. If Sarge is able to find an angle to lock him down with Frozen Tomb, I can guarantee you the London United members will not save any haste in trying to execute him during the CC of that ultimate. Now, Lil Pants has also stolen that one away as well, but it's Lucent with control of the river. London United have to check in, and that's when Lucent can really thrive and try and poke people down, and that's the Heartbreaker just immediately burnt.
Lil Pants is the one marauding forward most readily. DBL following through though. And for London United, they're just hanging around in the mid lane, huddling together to keep themselves safe. But this is going to be the Dragon soul secured with no contest for Lucent. And that's going to be a huge, huge tool to take them over the finish line. You've got to imagine only one inhibitor standing strong at the moment for London United as DBL looks to put some pressure onto Hanka and will chase them away.
I mean, it's definitely a bold call to just give over Hextech Soul like this, but I mean, maybe just feel like you can't quite fight at the moment. And I mean, can you really blame them realistically? Yes, Lucent, very, very strong right now. So if you can just hold out hope for the next 5 minutes. If you lose the Baron, feels bad, yes, but as long as you hold on to your base, that's the crucial thing. But the issue is 3 inhibitors about to come down, and Lucent don't seem interested in this Baron in 30 seconds time. It looks like they want to try and end the game.
Take down the third inhibitor. The fight has kicked off in earnest. Damn, that's a lot of damage from Johnny. As Super Big Fun forced to back away. Hancock goes low, has the good Gordon. The towers are going to help them out a little bit as Super Big Fun needs to get back towards the steps of his founding. Russ is now taking a decent amount of damage, but will be throwing the feathers back towards Fuyu. Can he get the damage down to get the kill? Yes, he can after Johnny gives one last shield and flies forward, but Zaya going to be able to pop the resurrection, but the 2 Nexus towers have fallen. Can Russ Stubber get the defense down? Super Big Fun is there looking towards Little Pants, who managed to get the heal down, but it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. You've got to imagine as both members fall. It was a valiant defense at the end, but Lucent, they pick up the speed and pick themselves up their first win of Div 2.
Lucent beat the 30-minute timer. Any longer than that, I think that game could have been very, very difficult to pilot out. I mean, to be fair, Hextech Soul, they very easily could have just fallen back towards the Baron, but they were concise, they were clinical in pushing for the end there. Risky draft, but they make it work. You have to feel for London United because realistically, the only thing they have to do is hold out. And hold out they couldn't do. The early game went catastrophically for Rusty Sniper and Buzzy. Fuyu and Lil Pants had their number. The Kalista lane was just too much to deal with. And from that snowball, it kind of just bled into the rest of the map. And there was nothing that London United could do but wait and hope for a perfect team fight, which unfortunately never quite came.
It was very, very close, but no scar for London United. We're going to jump to a short break. When we come back, we're going to be speaking to both the teams, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few minutes.